So
I
we'll
must
see.
tell you, that story that she told last time was absolutely fascinating. The one as to how she was named.
Barbie,
Oh,
have you heard
yes.
this story?
Joe told me, I was shocked,
I know.
absolutely shocked. I mean, it is just a remarkable story, given how much she disapproved of Jimmy marrying a Catholic. And
We
he was
should retell
buried in
the
the, he was,
story because whoever watches this recording will wonder what the heck we're talking about. Is somebody willing
All
to
right, so-
volunteer to tell it?
Just the
Well,
naming of Edith Ann. Right?
That, yeah, and the story as she explained it was that when there was much discord in the family when her father, Jimmy Bebro, a German Jew, married an Irish Catholic, Genevieve, I don't know what her maiden name was, Johnston. And there was apparently, as I say, much gnashing of teeth. And when their first child, Edith Ann, was born, and our grandmother, your aunt, Aunt Edith, went to the hospital and met with Genevieve. She said, and Genevieve introduced, it was either Julia or Juliet, I don't remember the name. And our grandmother said, if you name her after me, I will see to it that her college tuition is paid for. And they called over the woman at McGee Hospital or West Penn Hospital, said, please make the change on the birth certificate. And true to her word, our grandmother saw to it that for every birthday and every Christmas, Edith Ann got bonds of one sort or another. And when it was time for her to go off to Catholic University, there was enough tuition. And our grandmother took her shopping to make sure that she had the appropriate wardrobe for her for college. And in one respect, I think it's a warm, wonderful family story to share, but reflecting on it, you also think about, how our grandmother wanted to preserve her legacy. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but it shows how creative a woman she was or could be. And so I'll leave it at that. But anybody want to add to that?
No, that sounds good. The only thing I remember that she said that you didn't mention is that Madeline Halley, later Madeline Bamberger, later Madeline Baker, worked at Peck and Peck at the time and helped Edie get well dressed. They made sure she went off to college properly dressed with all the right clothing.
We have a new face here. Want to put your audio on?
I'm laughing at the idea of my mother being a fashion arbiter. But so be it. I did find a picture of her that my father apparently displayed on his desk.
oh,
Oh.
wow.
Oh, that's
Damn.
a great picture.
Yeah.
Is there any chance you can scan that and send it to me?
I certainly will be happy to.
Do you know how to share a screen?
Well, he doesn't have it on the, he isn't already scanned.
Oh, okay.
It's just on paper right now.
So I wanted to finish up what I was saying to my brother. So Mark, you're getting these original framed photos from the trunk, and they'll probably sit with your doorman until you come back. But
That's
let me-
okay. It's safe there. It's safe.
Where are you, Mark?
I'm in Westchester right now, up in a place called Bedford, about 40 miles north of New York City.
Well, just for a holiday?
No, I've had the house for 30 years.
Oh,
And basically it's where we go to get away from the city. And right now, because COVID is so bad, and you're just afraid of bumping into people in the subway, etc. So this is the right place to be, up in the country. And those are pictures of me in the background, scuba diving.
oh, those are lovely.
Yeah,
Wow.
taken about 2 years ago, the last time we could travel.
Where were you scuba diving?
And Cozumel, I can share them with you if you want
Oh,
to see a couple of
no.
them. Would you like to see them?
Sure. Sure.
I'll click on share screen here and see if I can do this right. I'm gonna find it.
Barbie, we've got your hand. It's very nice.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Just give me a minute and I will.
So, so Madeline, you got all my pictures of the last week or two?
Yeah, do you want me to show them?
Whenever it works with everybody else, yeah.
Okay.
And,
Well,
and just for, I'm sorry, we're going in sort of different directions here. For the benefit of everyone else, Robbie Bamberger just joined us. Robbie is the youngest of Madeline, let me get this right, Madeline Hallie Bamberger Baker's three boys, Rick, Roger, and Robbie. Rick and Roger are still living in their hometown of Cleveland. Boo Browns, Go Steelers. And Robbie branched out and he now has lived in Washington, D.C. for many years, to my recollection. And
Yeah.
so, Robbie, for your benefit, I don't know who of the cousins you know or don't know. Obviously, you know me and Barbie, and I
Yeah.
presume Madeline, but the Solomon, Susanna and Mark. Susanna was really the impetus for this this adventure that we are in the midst of.
And Susanna, you're the author, correct?
I am, and I'm also an electrical engineer, but just to give you the lowdown.
I did Google you. I'm just,
Oh, I got Google.
Did you feel anything?
Sure. I need to let you know that my father's house was closed down this year. His wife passed last October, and in the process of cleaning out the house, some people that I knew there found this hidden trunk in the back of the attic, and they shipped it to me here in California, and this is what's been keeping me and everybody else entertained for months. There are thousands and thousands of letters and beautiful photographs and mementos and all kinds of things, basically up to 1918 when my grandmother died, and wrapped in the newspaper that my father wrapped in the trunk of 1945 when he shipped it to his house where it remained for 75 years.
when you mentioned the house being broken up, are you talking about the house at Brattle and Craigie?
Yes.
It was sold, yeah, it was sold a couple months ago now.
Because I was in it once.
Oh, you were?
So was I. I was in it once too.
I was in it more than
So was
once.
I.
And
Everybody was in it.
I was too young to really understand the grandeur of the things I was seeing on the wall and the sculptures. I believe it's possible we may have been traveling up to Maine for Rick's graduation from Bowdoin. And Arthur took us to lunch at the Harvard Club, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
And I mean, I knew he was a man of considerable distinction, but I was too young and too uninformed to connect with him in a meaningful fashion. But I do remember the house was a wonderful thing to get to visit.
It was pretty grand.
And Robbie, by the way, there's a wonderful article I could look up, or you could look up, about Arthur that was a memorial piece put together by Harvard after he died in, you'll have to give me the year, Susanna, but talking about his 2002?
Mhm.
Yeah, talking about his
But I
career.
don't think we kids are in that. I don't think you.
No, you're not,
mentioned
but
it.
but I mean, it talks about his career, his professional career, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
some of the things that he did, and it really, it adds tremendous color and understanding to those of us who were at the Craigie Street house once, or maybe saw him in Pittsburgh once or twice when he visited. And I mean, he was very very devoted to our mother, to his Aunt Edith, and would
Yeah.
come regularly to Pittsburgh. And I remember, fondly remember the visits. Although
One of
they're a bit-
the few pieces of practical intelligence that my mother passed on to me was that Edith essentially raised Arthur after Hortense died.
That's right.
Yeah, she was called Aunt Edith to us. She used to come by and visit us when we were very young.
We went, Mark and I went to Aunt Edith's 80th birthday in Pittsburgh. I was pretty young at the time. Probably my first memory.
Oh, you know what? That was in 1964, because our wedding was delayed a week or two until after her birthday party. So her
Well,
birthday-
I don't think I was that old, but anyway, it doesn't really matter.
I think we went by
Barbie,
train, but I'm not sure.
well,
Barbie,
I'm married 57 years. And so, and I'm not sure which birthday it was for her, but at any rate, our wedding was scheduled so that there would be two separate events.
Oh, okay.
So it might, I don't know, how old are you? Suzanne,
I'm 72.
you're 72. Well,
It would have
so
been 15 at
you
the
were
time.
probably there. Yeah,
No, I was way younger. Way,
Oh,
way.
Must have been an earlier birthday of hers. then.
maybe it was an earlier birthday.
Must
Yeah.
have been
Like
earlier,
3
because I
years.
think we recall we went there by train. Because I remember being tucked into an overhead compartment to sleep. Train from Boston to Pittsburgh.
Let me get back to Joe. Joe, I don't know how much time you have. Did you want to look at some photos and identify some people if you had time for that?
I'm glad to do that. As I said, Fern's dentist appointment. Fern is at the dentist right now. She's about 5 minutes away. I'm when I'm driving, I'm going to turn off the camera and go and pick her up and come back, but I'll keep the audio on. And then when I get back, whatever pictures I don't see, I will, take a look at, or I can take a look at them on the recorded version of this if need be. But yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine. And Robbie, thank you for joining us. This really is wonderful to bring more and more of the cousins together.
I sort of go by Rob the last
Oh,
several
Rob.
You
decades.
have some cousins in
Oh.
Washington DC, don't you? Doesn't he, Barbie?
Yeah. One of our kids lives in Washington, DC. In fact, we had lunch some years ago, and you
Oh,
were
yeah.
celebrating the 25th anniversary of your
Oh, the
classical
program?
radio program. Do you still have that?
I do. It was briefly sidelined by a general manager who never understood what the program was about. But when he left under a cloud, listeners clamored for its return. And so I'm back and approaching about 39 years with it.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
That's great.
so Fern just called. I'm going to be turning my video off, and then I'll listen to you guys in the car, and then I'll rejoin you on video when I'm back home.
Very good.
I don't know if you want to wait for Joe to come back to.
No. Go
Just
ahead.
your
Go ahead
pictures.
without me. That's fine.
Yeah, no, to share pictures. But I will tell you my memories of Craigie Street. I went to Simmons College. And so once a year I would be invited over to Craigie Street. And it was always a big deal for me. I'd take the subway or bus or whatever, subway to Harvard Square and walk there. And it was such a fabulous home. And the art was so amazing. And once I was recruited because a hurricane was coming and we had to move all the lawn furniture into the garage so it wouldn't get blown away during the hurricane.
Was
remember
that
that.
like 1937 or 38?
No, it was in the 50s. It was in the
54.
50s. Well, I was in college from 56 to 60, 55, I guess, to 60.
So it must have been 60 something.
Yeah, so at any rate, I remember that. And I went once for Thanksgiving dinner. And it was, I don't remember, stuffing had oysters and chestnuts and all kinds of interesting things. And my boyfriend at the time picked me up afterwards and took me to his home in Belmont, Massachusetts, I think. I got sick to my stomach. I remember the dinner did not stay down very well, but I remember everyone was dressed. You dressed for dinner. I mean, the men wore jackets. They might be wearing jeans, but they were wearing casual jackets, as I recall. Is that right, Mark? Or
And
Suzanne?
ties.
And ties. Yeah. So
And I
whatever
had to
was
wear a
above the.
dress or a skirt for dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. I have really lovely memories. And the other thing I'll share with you is that my husband and I were just in Boston for a few days before coming up to Maine. And we went to the Museum of Fine Arts.
Mhm.
And we were looking at one of these walls of philanthropy of a more recent wing. And there it said, the estate of Arthur K. Solomon. I don't know if you realized your father's estate gave between $5 and $10 million to the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. Had you been? I thought everything went to Harvard, so I was really surprised to see that.
There's two, I mean, from what I recall, and I'm never privy to this information for lots of reasons I won't go into, but I know the house and all the art and a big chunk of change went to Harvard. And years ago, 2 pieces of art were purchased by the Museum of Fine Arts. So who knows? I mean,
this was a bequest, or this was from the estate of Arthur K. Solomon. So
What did the image look like?
well, no, it was just his name was there. There are lists of people who gave over, 25 million or 20 million, and this was between 5 and 10 million. And there was the estate of Arthur K. Solomon. I thought I would share that with you because that was sort of big news to me.
We never knew that.
Well, that's why I'm telling you.
He must have done that, of course, without us knowing anything. But yeah, he was a big time art collector for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
But he gave his house to Harvard. He gave his art collection to Harvard. He gave 2 key paintings to MFA.
Well, maybe those paintings had that. I don't know. Anyway, I just thought I would tell you, since I'm seeing you, this was a few days ago.
I have the best of all. I have the trunk.
Yes, you do.
That's priceless. No value can be put on that.
And people
My
all over the
favorite,
country.
my favorite item from the trunk is the engraved invitation to Arthur's circumcision.
Oh yeah.
I thought, here a baby's born. It's engraved. This, it has to be done very quickly. An engraved invitation. It has to be delivered by horse and buggy, maybe, who knows? To
1912.
Yeah.
The earliest thing I have is dated 1885, which was the congratulations to Jenny Nathan's on the birth of her daughter Hortense.
Oh, wow. Huh.
I didn't, so you don't think I was being rude looking up at my other computer. I sort of recalled seeing in the house a sculpture by Degas.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Who I didn't know did sculpture. So I was just confirming that was possible before I risked
Yeah, it was
sounding
a
really
woman
stupid.
having her legs washed.
Amongst the items that I found, a bunch of glass slides, which nobody wanted, but I'm having them converted. And in the glass slides, there's one photo of a birthday party. I think it was Mark's in the dining room, and everybody's wearing party hats along with Henry Moore's sculpture.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
We didn't know what it was growing up.
But he looks very nice in a party hat.
So how did Arthur develop his interest in art and collecting?
He was given a lot of money when his mom passed, and when he was in just after college in 1937, after he got his PhD, he went to Europe. And basically, a lot of Europeans were desperate to sell their artwork to escape what was going on. And so he bought artwork then during a very difficult time for Europeans, but he was flush with cash.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, was that when he went with our mother? Because they went together to Europe.
I
Oh, he went a
think
lot of times.
He went there a lot. He liked traveling by ship, actually.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
And he went to Paris and to London. And he met an art gallery owner, a man called Justin Townhauser, who my father would buy a lot of art from. And Justin
Mark
was
and I
dealing
met
with
him
a lot
in
of
Switzerland.
displaced people.
Hmm.
Houston Townhauser's collections at the Guggenheim.
Wow.
And I met him a couple of times in Europe, and he wasn't a very happy man, but when he passed, and because I didn't have any kids, he did have kids, but unfortunately died in the war. He didn't know what to do with his 50 pieces of art, so he gave it to the Guggenheim. And then
Wow.
his wife, also Hilda, gave her stuff to the Guggenheim. So now there's a big collection, this entire wing called the Tannhauser collection at the Guggenheim in New York City.
You know, whenever he would take labels with him, and when he traveled, my mother would always get a postcard from him.
Well,
All over the world, as I recall.
he was also a naughty boy because he would, when he worked at the lab for 50 years, when he traveled to Europe, he would find the most risque postcards he could and send them to the lab. And they were always sometimes turned back and sometimes they went through. So did you
That's
remember that,
great.
Mark?
He would buy them on the stalls in Paris, from what I can gather, in the 50s and the 60s. And of course, it was hard to get in the US.
That's great, because it's hard for me to imagine him with sort of a ribald sense of humor.
Oh, absolutely.
That's fascinating.
But he was a very secretive man. Much of his life we did not know about. I used to visit him in New York, and he would come there about once every 2 or 3 months, and I would ask him, what does he do during the day? And he would just say the usual. He wouldn't say who he saw, what he did, who he spoke to, what kind of business he conducted. He was very secretive.
Hmm.
Even from you, his children.
Oh, no, we never knew about it.
Yeah.
We never knew about it. There was a whole secret life that he kept, and that's the way he wanted to keep it. In fact, we were really not part of his life for many years.
Yeah. Can you say a little more about that? I mean, do you harbor any suspicion is not the word I want to use. I mean, I'm not implying that there was something really dark and sinister.
I think he more or less, the best way to describe it is he kind of distanced himself from his children. And in fact, many times I try to call him and they would hang up. I would want to visit them. They would have visitors over. They didn't really want to see us, both my sister and I. And this went on for maybe 30 or 40 years. As I said, he had a very secretive life that he didn't share with us at all.
Mark, you don't know this, but I just got a package of stuff from Craigie Street, and I got his wallet. And it's funny because it's full of photographs of us. I'll scan some of these things and send them to you, Madeline. I just got it. But here's the photo of my brother and myself and my father the last time we saw him, if you can see that.
Hmm.
And he's about 90, no, 80, 88 or something.
That's me in the left. There's my sister in the center.
Yeah.
I think this was in the upstairs bedroom. Is that right?
Yeah, your old bedroom. But it's amazing to me and kind of heartwarming in a way and disappointing in a way that the photos were in his wallet, which meant that he was very, in his own peculiar way, very loving to us. And his third wife was very jealous, so she hid all the photos and kind of tried to make it difficult for us to see him or communicate with him.
We were not invited to the funeral, for example. When we went to the service, we sat in the back row.
Well, we didn't sit in the back row, but they didn't mention that he had any children, which was kind of.
No, they didn't mention that, yeah.
But let's see, I have all kinds of things here. I have his birth certificate. He's a great benefactor for the Museum of Fine Arts. This goes along with what you were saying, Barbie.
Mhm. Oh,
And
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Sorry, I'm covering the important part.
Benefactor, great benefactor.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
There's something I took out of a box and I think I left it upstairs, so I will ask to be excused for about 74 seconds, I would guess.
Oh,
Welcome
Joe, you're back.
I'm back.
Anyway,
And Fern is here too.
Is that a necklace you have?
No, it's actually, I I put my, the key fob for the car keys around my neck. I find that's a good way you don't lose them.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
his roller skate key.
Fern calls it my roller skate key.
How old is your car?
Oh, this is a Lexus that's, oh, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 years old. I have a almost classic 85 Mustang GT, 95 Mustang GT with a 5-speed, which is sort of my pride and joy.
oh,
And then-
nice.
Yeah, I still have my 20-year-old Toyota Camry, which drives okay.
Madeline, I will scan these photos for you properly, but this came from the stuff I just got.
Now, who is that?
I couldn't.
Susanna, who is it? Do you know?
I couldn't tell you. No.
Okay, well, we'll try to figure it out. Can you slide
there
the
anything
photos out and
on-
see if anything's written on them?
Oh.
We are now
I'll send
cursing
it
all the
to the
people
thing.
who did not write anything on the photos. Because there are these beautiful pictures that she has, absolutely gorgeous. We have absolutely no idea who they are.
There's all kinds of things in here, but I'll scan them. That's too
Okay.
hard to see. And-
Natalie, did you get the CD I sent you? Did that arrive today?
Not yet.
Okay, it's supposed to arrive today, and if you don't, I'll send you another one. Joe,
Okay,
would you like
well,
a CD of your mom?
sorry?
Joe Safier, would you like a CD of the audio tape of your mom?
I would love one.
Sure,
if
that
you-
would be-
If you have an extra.
Sure, just give me your addresses and I will send it out to you. I just need your physical addresses. And just send me an email with your physical address and I'll ship all of them out.
That'd be great.
You know what? I think we ought to include Susie. So Barbie, do
Yeah.
you want to send Mark
Well, I
all
don't
the
know if I
addresses,
have-
or do you want me to?
Why don't you? Because I don't know that I have Mark's address.
Well, no, just we're emailing Mark.
I don't think I have
All
Mark's
right, I
email
will.
address. Mark
Okay,
Solomon.
that's fine. I will email Mark as
Oh,
we
I don't know. No,
sit here.
is it, wait a minute, Mark, is it kaskelrock@gmail.com?
That's me. Now you can see
Okay.
why I chose that name.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
But how many of you want CDs? So Joe, you want one? And
I would
Barbara, you
like
want
one.
one, I assume,
And
right?
Susan Christensen.
Yeah.
And Bob, would you like to have a CD of
Sure, I was very fond of Betty.
Betty talks for, it's two sides of an old cassette. So each side is roughly about 30 megabytes, which is why it's easy for me to ship out a CD than to upload it. But sure, I will send out. So that's 4 of you, right?
Thank you.
Okay, 3 of you.
I have about 90 minutes oral history with Ellie.
Oh,
Eleanor
Oh,
Hammer.
really?
Oh, wow.
Well, she had
Yeah.
such an interesting life.
She did. The thing that has stayed with me, because I haven't listened to it in a zillion years. In fact, let me see if I can actually pull it off the shelf.
Harvey, we have a nice view of your hand.
Oh,
There
sorry.
you are.
No, because I'm sending Mark, Joe, 201 South Maple Drive.
Oh, I
Okay,
was just
send it
sitting
to me
here,
and
compose.
All right,
Barbie,
well,
I was
that's
just
fine.
composing that.
All right, well, then
Let me go
I'll
do
let
that.
you do it. Okay, you're doing it on.
you want me to send it to you in the state of Maine or in
Oh,
California?
no, California. We're just here for a couple of weeks.
Rob, is that a reel-to-reel tape?
Yeah,
Wow.
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 And look at that.
yeah, and it's dated March 31st, 1991.
So are you going to archive that and turn it into
Can
digital?
you, is it possible for you to digitize that?
Yeah, I've got open reel equipment I can
So how did you go about making that recording?
Well, I actually made it at the station so that the fidelity would be decent. So it was made in a studio where the station was at that time. It was on the campus of American University. And there are some handwritten notes inside, which I think I was trying to scribble down a makeshift family. I doubt that it has anything that you guys don't know. But the interesting thing that I always remember from that conversation was her remarking that for she and Madeline to spend time with their mother was an event. They were, I imagine they had something quasi-governess.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I thought that's must be where my mother kind of got the model for what parenting was, because she was a fairly distant parent, especially by the time I came around. When you're cursing the people that were not identified on family photos, I used to observe that there were plenty of photos of Rick and Raj, and, but you know, not so much of me by the time I came along.
Well, you've
But-
got a family now.
Yeah. So,
Did you have a governess or an au pair or anyone who took care of you?
we did have a maid who was quite dear to me for a number of years, Flora. But oh yes, I've seen that photo. Yeah.
Now, who are these? Who's everybody here?
Well,
That's-
it's
I think
Madge flanked by Madeline and Ellie.
Ah. Wow.
I just thought I'd
Oh,
throw
that's
that up there while we're talking about it.
I didn't
That's
think
cute.
you'd have any photos that I could be of any help to, but that one I can.
See,
Well,
you
we
are-
know,
you
we
are
knew
special.
who that was.
I wouldn't have.
Yeah, and then, see, I've got a picture of Madge when she was much older as well.
I have some photos to show people if they want to see them.
I have an artifact. Yeah.
Oh, wow,
Well, that's nice.
what a beautiful photograph.
Mhm.
That's a professional photograph, I think.
Yeah.
And pardon me again, who, this is,
This is Madge, Madeline,
Madge.
Ellen Halley.
this is
It's your great aunt.
my great aunt Madge. Okay, I have.
She's also the person after whom I am named,
Ah,
which is also an interesting story, how I got my name.
How did you get your name?
Well, Edith was not especially enthusiastic about my father getting married. My parents always said
Oh,
that
that's true. Yeah.
my parents always said that she wouldn't have wanted my dad to marry anybody, really. She wanted to keep him to herself. That's what their theory was. But anyway, she was opposed, and Madge went to see her and sat her down and said to her, if you don't stop opposing this marriage, you will never get to see your grandchildren. And that made a difference to Edith. She was like, oh, okay. And in gratitude for that, my parents named me after Madge.
Wow.
wow.
And
Isn't that
Edith was
lovely?
unhappy that I was
Great
not named
story.
after her.
Well,
So my
didn't,
sister Betsy, whose given name is Edith Elizabeth, they named Betsy after Edith. So
It's great.
that's
But
the
I
rest of the
understand-
story.
I understand that my grandmother Edith wore black at your parents' wedding because she so disapproved of the wedding.
That's what I was told too. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She said, yes, I'll go, but I'll wear black.
How interesting. Well, we all have such kind and thoughtful relatives.
Luckily, we
Ernest
didn't,
laughing in the
luckily, we're much
background.
nicer than they were.
We are way
I was,
nicer.
I was going to say, I'm now curious as to what will be said of us.
Maybe we don't want to know.
At least we can meet
Rob, do you-
virtually.
Mark,
Rob,
did you
do you
want
have
to
any-
share some pictures? Mark?
Oh, yeah, I want to show them to you. Sure, okay, here goes. I'm gonna try to, just give me a minute here.
I hope it'll let you share. I'm not sure what the permission.
I'm trying to figure out how to use it. It's still a little new. for
Adeline,
me.
at some point, show Rob the photographs of the boxes of letters I gave.
Okay, I'll put that up.
In the meantime, Rob, are you married? Do you have a family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids, but have been married for nearly 25 years to Chris.
Nice.
Yeah,
Not my son, I imagine.
no. She, she's a Fred Astaire expert,
Oh, interesting.
recognized internationally,
Wow.
but presently working as a contractor for the State Department.
Here are the pictures I'm sharing with you. Can you see?
Oh,
them?
wow.
Yeah,
Okay, so who are these fabulous pictures?
That's,
Sent from my sister. So Susie, do you want to tell me what they are?
oh no, the bottom left is our grandfather, Mark Solomon.
Mm,
That's him right here.
Yeah.
mhm.
And these came from a box of negatives I found in the trunk. And I
Mhm.
had them turned into black and whites. As
Mhm.
far as the ladies at Clabby's, I don't know who the heck they are. Oh, this photo on the left looks like the same photo I just sent you this morning, Madeline.
Let me go
But
through the
see,
rest.
everybody wore black.
Then we have this one here. And
Yeah,
I think
Susanna,
this is
I had the
Nathan's
same thought.
family. I think these are the Nathan's family.
Boy, it sure would be nice to have one of the Natton's cousins to help us identify some of this stuff.
Well,
Exactly.
Joe, do you want to call them? I have their numbers.
Here's one of our
you know,
grandfather, Mark, right here.
And that's Florence, that's Hortense. in the middle.
Madeline,
Now Hortense is a bit of a flirt, the next one. See?
Wow. Is that
Mm.
Hortense and Arthur?
Well,
No,
hold on.
that's Hortense and
This is
somebody
Mark.
else.
That's Hortense, and I don't know who this guy is, but clearly she liked him because you
These
can
are-
see
that's,
this is 1911
Susanna Solomon.
in Atlantic City.
that's fascinating for me to see
Leah.
because
This is my husband, Lee, who just came
Oh, hi,
back.
Susanna.
Uh,
Nice to see you.
Hi, Madeline.
Hi, Lee.
I,
We're going through some pictures of Atlantic City in 1911.
Wow.
So who are those people?
So who is this? This is Hortense?
I think this
Yeah.
is Hortense, and this was another cute picture of them together.
I don't think that's Hortense.
No,
I
she's
don't know
not
who
in
these
that
are,
photo.
but you can see it's kind of cute. And then there's a couple of pictures of them in the train station. And these are the Nathan siblings. I
Well,
think these
that's
are
a theory.
two brothers
That's a
here.
theory.
and two sisters, and this is Hortense
We don't know
herself.
that for a fact.
It's this one right there. That's Hortense herself.
No, I don't know about that. I don't know.
This is
She's
what
wearing a
Madeline
veil.
said to me.
No,
Well,
it's
that's,
Fab, I think.
that's,
That's
again,
what
I'm
Hortense-
just,
Her face looks
it's a theory.
obscured.
Oh, he
It's a
doesn't. mention-
theory.
Oh, maybe she is wearing a veil. So Leon said,
She's
is
wearing
she,
a veil.
is the woman with the fabulous hat, is that a veil over her face?
Yeah,
There's a veil over her face, right? But I
yeah.
think these are all the Nathan siblings,
Well, that's just our theory.
according
Arthur
to
Solomon's
Madeline
mother,
Baum.
who
That's
died
just a theory.
NATTA.
tell me who that family is. I don't recognize the last name.
Nathan is our grandmother.
Hortense Natton's Solomon. So my grandmother's family.
Gotcha.
I don't know. who
Arthur's,
these people
Arthur's
are.
mother.
She had a son. She married this woman here, married our grandfather, who's here. That's our grandfather,
Right, Mark.
Mark. And
Yeah.
we had our dad.
And she died in the 1918 influenza pandemic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she died.
Hortense there. Yeah.
7 years after this picture was
Yeah,
taken.
I know. And it's interesting for me to see these photos of her younger because the only image of her I've ever known is the wedding picture,
Yeah,
where her
Hmm.
expression is somewhat not severe, but not girlish either.
Yeah, she looks very serious in those photos.
Yeah, I mean,
she looks pretty happy,
this is fascinating, just fascinating to
but
see.
this is not my grandfather, of course, it's somebody else. And you can
I'm
see the
gonna-
men wore with straw boaters, straw hats. Here she is in a family car. I think they had a car driving or took the train from Baltimore to Atlantic City. And it's pretty amazing. This is a car in 1911. You can see they,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I think that my Hugo,
Here, let me do that.
Hugo Baum, your Aunt Edith's husband, got a call that Madge and Edith had been in an accident. And he said, but they were walking. And apparently a car knocked them over. And one of the reasons my grandmother had such terrible arthritis was because of that automobile accident, which she was walking, probably from a car like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you can see these had hand cranks to get started.
Yes.
It's 1911.
Yeah,
Let's bring those back.
And then this is,
this is Mark
And then there's a
Solomon.
nice- this is our grandfather. This is Mark Kaskel.
Oh, that's the K, the K does stand for Kaskel. I wondered
Kaskel,
about
and I think this was done in Pittsburgh because I see these two church steeples here. So I don't think I don't know where this was taken. This is actually a backwards picture because the lapel, guy's lapel is generally on the right side, so it's actually reversed.
What are the spires?
And who is this?
Pittsburgh.
Does anybody know who these people are?
Well,
I love the hats. They're fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
there's a lady down the street from me in a hat store. She makes hats, and I've been bringing her copies of the photos of the hats. And she's just absolutely thrilled. Oh, I know how they made this. Look at this beautiful feather. Oh, it's
Feathers
great.
and hats are here. And then look how the men are so formal with the tie and the bell.
Yeah.
If I can get Chris down here for a moment, she's very knowledgeable about fashions and she probably could tell us something. Let me just see if she's available.
These are the pictures of basically our family in Atlantic City. This place here is Flabby's. That's how I was able to find this is boardwalk right along here. And I don't know who these ladies are,
Wow, look at those outfits.
but you can see it was a sunny day in Atlantic City. Look at how long these dresses were.
Oh, yeah.
They were
Half a
dark.
dollar. Yeah.
Now, this
Leon-
gal here on the left is the same photo I just sent over to Madeline.
So these are the ones I sent to you, Madeline, on the CD that you should be getting.
Well, they're also online, right? They're on the Dropbox.
Yes, they are. Uh-huh.
So I've been looking at them on there.
We don't know.
I sent that a couple of days ago.
Yep, that's right. So what I did is, I went into Photoshop and I took out all the little spots on them because over time they showed like little black marks and whatever, and I cleaned them up.
I think there were
Oh,
30
good.
or 40 negatives.
Yeah.
I think it would make,
So
it would make,
interesting, this one here.
it would make
These
sense
guys
when,
look the same.
New York.
So I think these are the Matten siblings. That's what I think, but I'm not sure. And look, these
I
are the
think it
old
would,
cranes in
it would
Atlantic
make,
City, steam cranes.
I think it would make
Let me-
sense when
let me
Rob
turn
gets
the
back
video.
to
No.
send him a link to the Dropbox.
Oh, okay.
Chris is here to study the photos, but wants to remain off camera today.
Okay. So should I,
If you can go back to the one of the five ladies.
oh, that one. That's.
I'll step over.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow,
I like that hat with the white.
those are
You want
quite
to see
the
these
hats.
hats?
Yeah.
But they're all great. Look how big those hats are.
That's tall they are.
Look at all those tall hats.
And they're very formal. They're little ties and lapels.
Right with the feather.
Lots of
Yeah,
lace.
so Leon was just reminding me, we were in South Africa a few years ago, And we heard the story of this man who raised ostriches. And his business was fabulous because ostrich feathers were used in hats and garments, and he became an extraordinarily wealthy
A
man.
millionaire in
Wow.
1913.
And then ostrich feathers went out of business and he was bankrupt.
Oh, no.
I remember that as late as the 1970s, there was an ostrich feather processing factory off the Long Island Railway, because we were in New York for a vacation, and I noticed that just because I've always been interested in showbiz history, and I later used ostrich feather fans to do a fan dance.
Oh, you did personally? How fabulous.
Hi, Chris, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you another story. When I grew up in Pittsburgh, you know, Gene Kelly grew up in Pittsburgh.
Right.
And so I took a dancing lesson. Susie did. I don't know if Joe did, but I took a tap and ballet from Gene Kelly's sister, Louise Kelly. And she had a studio above some shops at Forbes and Murray. Oh, hello, Chris. Nice to meet you. Anyway, there was a recital. And I was very proud. I'd go down in the basement and I'd tap my heart out on the concrete floor. And I was, you know, just terrific, right? And so it was this recital. And my mother said I was great. And I believed her. And it was only when our kids were in a talent show and I told them they were great and they really weren't, that I realized how bad I had been.
Oh, you never know.
That's fun anyway.
So the question I have is, when the fan dance was in
Yeah.
vogue, how much did that contribute to the ostrich feather business?
Probably, yes. I'm sure Sally
Burlesque
Rand did
fan
quite a bit.
dances.
I
Amongst
did
the
wear
things
clothes, just so you know, when I did.
Oh,
Oh,
too
good.
bad.
Who even knew that you were wearing them?
That's right. I would skillfully keep the clothes hidden, so that was the way it worked.
But you always commented that the fans themselves were pretty heavy.
They were. That was a real workout.
Did you see this?
Wow.
Must have been fat ostriches.
I said, okay.
So did you,
Photographs.
did you perform as a dancer? You're a trained dancer?
Yes,
Did I tell her that?
it was very small time showbiz. It was a local orchestra called Doc Scantlin and the Imperial
Hold on
Palms,
just a minute.
and they would
Where?
do 1920s, 30s music mostly, and in
in-
Washington DC area.
What fun.
Yeah,
What was it called? I missed that.
Doc Scantlin and the Imperial Palms Orchestra.
To the-
Oh, wow, that's a wonderful name.
Yeah, Doc Scantlin was a lot of fun because he was kind of a combination of Cab Calloway and Al Jolson and I don't know.
Harry Richmond.
Yeah,
perhaps.
it's sort of all rolled up in one. He was a real character. So, but what was it you wanted me to answer about the hats?
Oh,
Or-
did someone expressed curiosity
Can you show?
about the manufacture, the design of the hats? Well, maybe I'm mistaken about that. But let me ask you one question. Were those hats very current for 1911?
I'll go back to the share screen and see if I can bring it up for you.
Yeah, I mean, they struck me as being just a little bit earlier than that, but no, that those look pretty much like the styles of. It was just about. It was just when Irene Castle came along and cut her hair and began to wear
Mhm.
smaller headdresses. Just a few years later, that became much more prevalent.
Okay.
So
So they're not dressing up for a special occasion. I mean, they're not dressing up for a ball. They're dressing up because that's how they dress up. This is probably standard.
right, those are day clothes, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And those little things around their neck, I think, are called jabots.
Jabots, yes.
This
I had a
year,
jabot when I was a girl at some point.
And what are the little chains that I see hanging on them that are
Which
pinned to
one?
them?
Probably either a lorgnette or a watch, I suppose.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Glasses.
Way to get hold of it. Yeah,
And then the men also were very formal.
very dapper.
You see with the pince nez glasses and,
With
tie.
stiff collars.
Yeah.
Huh. Yep, very elegant group.
Thanks.
Very elegant.
Sure. Well, it's nice to meet you
Going on a
guys.
train.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for
You don't have
stepping
to,
in.
you don't,
Thank
We
you.
don't, you don't have to leave. You can stay.
I'm at work, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay, well, nice.
She's
to
on the
meet you.
clock.
Yep, though my clothes belie it. Rolled
Uh-oh.
out of bed and went to the office.
Okay.
That's the world we live in now.
So Madeline, you want to play guess who this person is?
Yeah, let me pull up some of those pictures. This one is probably a long shot.
Where's Rob Bamberger, Cleveland?
Washington, DC.
Oh, yeah, you told me.
Actually Arlington, Virginia, but very close.
Oh,
1913,
wow.
Yeah.
April
The-
25th.
The inscription says, "Love to Aunt Hortense from Helene, Helene." So we maybe can assume that Helene was it's probably the child's parent, because that doesn't look like children's handwriting.
Mm. Look at her bow.
There are those big bows on girls at the time. I love those.
Yeah,
Are they all true?
I
So
think,
no
well,
ideas.
no idea.
Okay.
I would think that, if we can connect with the Nattons, and I'm dealing with a lot of issues with Jaden at the moment, so I'm not quite ready to take on, trying to reach out to them and connect them to this process. But if somebody's willing to do that, they may answer some of these questions and identify some of the kids in these pictures.
And let me see what else I've got here that we need an ID on. I think some of these I haven't yet downloaded. They're still part of the email oh, this is a really important question for Rob. Can you see this? The picture just changed. Can you see it?
No, I'm still looking at Helene.
All right, I have to stop and start again. Rob, who does this look like to you?
Oh, does that look like Uncle Eddie Meyer?
Yeah, Eddie Meyer. That's
Yeah.
who I think it is.
It's not your grandfather, is it?
No, it's not Jerry. I can see
Okay.
why you might have thought there was some relationship there, but no, it's not Jerry.
Okay, so it's definitely Eddie Myers.
Yeah,
And-
Uncle Eddie and Aunt Carrie Meyer weren't really related, but they
Oh,
were
this is
very,
Aunt
very
Carrie's
close.
husband?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
I
great.
think so. And
Yeah.
if Joe
Yes, I think
agrees,
so too.
Whose husband?
Aunt Carrie,
Oh, okay.
yeah, in
Carrie
Pittsburgh.
Meyer. What was Carrie's maiden name?
I have no idea.
Hmm.
I
And they
could
lived
tell
up
you.
the street from us.
Yeah, they lived up the street. Mhm.
Yeah,
On Malvern Avenue.
we would always go visit her whenever we came to Pittsburgh. I remember that. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Thank you. All right, let me dig up some of these other pictures because I think they're still part of the emails. So talk amongst yourselves.
Well, one thing I found that used to have it on the mantel piece. It's the head of one of Kaskel's canes.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
how
cute.
lovely.
Yeah,
Oh, huh. Solomon.
That was your grandfather.
yeah. There's the
Yeah. Wow, that's
grandfather.
Kaskel, yes. Our mutual great grandfather.
He's the one that started it all for us.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
Hugo was my
Jake,
grandfather.
Yeah, that's right.
actually, Jacob Gusky, I think, really started it for us. But yes, Kaskel.
So who came to the United States when?
Hugo and Bevro and Kaskel.
And don't forget Hugo. Hugo came to the
Yeah,
US
Hugo
when he was around
came.
15. Your
When
grandfather.
did Kaskel come? And Jacob?
I'll have to look it up, but I think he came when he was about 15 years old. And he went eventually, I think, to New Haven, and he had a brother, Charlie. And then Kaskel worked in New York for 10 years where he met Rebecca Gusky. And
That's the store.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and Ellie mentioned Rebecca.
Rebecca Gusky.
Yeah. Started in
Our
North
great
Pittsburgh.
No,
grandmother.
it wasn't. It was a different Gusky. It was Jacob Gusky. Our grandfather, great grandfather was Kaskel Solomon. Kaskel Solomon,
Right.
but his brother, no, Kaskel Solomon was married to Rebecca Gusky.
Yes,
And his
that's right.
brother was the DeWolf.
Oh,
But Jacob Gusky was
Was
also
Rebecca-
married to
Was
wasn't-
Rebecca Gusky's brother.
sister. Say that again.
Rebecca and Jacob Gusky were brother and sister.
Uh-huh.
Here's a little blurb on Kaskel. I'll show you.
Relation is Rob Bamberger to the dog show judge.
Uncle Jerry was Rob's. The dog show judge was Rob's grandfather.
Grandfather,
Right,
right.
yeah.
I remember having dinner with him.
Yeah, they came out to Los Angeles and took us to
I don't remember where.
to a very fancy restaurant in Los Angeles. The only time we ever went there because we couldn't afford it. I'm not sure he could afford it either, but but it's a lovely memory.
Did we lose Mark?
Scandia, that was the name of the restaurant. It's no longer in business.
Well, before Mark comes back, let me show these mystery people that Susanna has found. Does anybody know who this is?
I think is that Gertie? Because in the photo with the whole family, Gertrude's wearing glasses.
I don't know.
We need a Bibro here to give us some insight, I guess. So no, huh?
So
I don't
do you want, you could send that to Edie and Mark and see if they can identify her.
Do that. Okay, and here's the next one.
Is that Hortense?
No,
I have no
Oh,
idea.
that's mystery number 2. Yeah, I started naming these mystery.
and we've got the third one. Is this lady?
Early 1900s hairstyle.
She looks
Yeah,
similar to the photos that I have from 1911, the woman in the scarf covering her face.
Well, I'm wondering if this is someone who appears in those pictures from Atlantic City. It looks like the studio that took this is, the name is Schulman. That
Yeah.
might be a clue. If we can figure out what city that was in, it might help. Look at that blouse. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Gorgeous.
that's exactly what I was
Probably
thinking.
Pittsburgh.
Look how high the
yeah.
neck is.
Yeah,
If you send that to me, Chris may be able to date it to narrow it down.
Yeah, with the
Okay.
costume.
yep, I'll send it to you. So those are the ones, aren't they, Susanna? Or was there another picture that you were thinking
I've
of?
been trying to scan one a day, so whatever I've done in the last week or so. Because I think our last meeting was last week.
Yeah, that sounds right. So that brings up an interesting point. We've got Susanna and Mark are both going on vacation. I'm going to be gone for a while.
I'm not going anywhere. I canceled my vacation plans.
Oh, you
So-
did? Oh, okay.
Because it was too dangerous to go to Europe right now. So the booking agent gave me a full voucher. It's something called Viking Cruises. Oh,
Looks like
look
the
at
same
that.
person.
Yeah, Viking is a wonderful cruise line. We had one canceled also.
Yeah, I was supposed to go in the end of August, but it was just too risky with all the shots and the COVID situation and the quarantine. So they gave us a full refund to book for another time.
Yeah.
Who's this, Susie?
I don't
We
know.
don't know.
These are my unknowns.
Hmm.
These haven't been scanned yet. These are
No.
still,
Haven't been scanned yet. Let me see who, I don't have too many left now.
Susie, are you going to France?
In 10 days,
So
I gotta
said,
get my,
Marcus,
I gotta get my pass sanitaire.
No, I told him.
I could show you.
Those look like Nathan's siblings.
I have no idea. And this is a very old one. I may have sent this already.
No, you haven't.
Many of my father in a sailor suit. And then this gentleman,
Can you like, hold this?
Who's he?
Good
I don't know, but
question.
I'll scan these and send
He's
them
in a
over.
heart-shaped, he's in
I
a
told them
heart-shaped
about
mat,
that.
which is an interesting thing.
Yeah,
I'm just sitting here Googling as we talk. The Jewish Museum of Maryland talks about an N. Schulman photography at 924 East Baltimore Street.
That had to be the Nathans then.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's,
be.
Yeah. So that had to be, it's probably Hortense Nathans herself.
well, 3/4 of the
not
stuff in the trunk
necessarily.
is my grandmother's stuff, so.
It could be a sibling. Because it
Yes,
doesn't look
yeah,
like her. It doesn't look like
No,
her.
I
How
want to
many
make it
siblings did she
this
have?
way. and
4 or
bigger.
She
5?
had, let me think about this. She had 2 sisters and 2 brothers. There were 5 of them.
Adeline, can you put up the family tree on the screen?
Yeah, I was gonna do that. Let's look at the family tree.
Here, if I can get it, so you can, this is from the Museum of Fine Arts.
Interesting.
Where in that $5 to $10 million category. Sorry,
Estate of Arthur,
K. Solomon. Can you
Yeah.
see it?
hard to see because
Yeah.
of the reflection.
No, I told them about it. Yeah. thanks.
All right, so let me show you, let's take a quick look at the family tree. So this is what we have. This is just a piece of it. It's quite extensive. Because we needed a place to put all of this wonderful stuff that Susanna has found. The Mark Solomon, Hortense Nathans, and then the Arthur K. Solomon branch is very well built out. And just so you know, if you want to read that article that Joe was referring to, it's uploaded into the record for Arthur. I forget if I saved it as a PDF or if it's a link, but you can go right there. I'll give you an example of what you can see on the tree. So here's the overall layout of the tree. Each person that I had a photograph for, I put their picture in here. It would be great to have more pictures. We're working on that. So here's Arthur. I'm going to click on his profile. Are you seeing things change or?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So here's Arthur. He's got his birth here, birth date and place, his death date and place, and then it's got this timeline down the left-hand side.
I think our grandfather died later than that, but I'm not sure.
Does Susie have a picture of it from the cemetery?
Well, I have his death certificate,
Oh, there
Oh,
you
well,
go.
that's-
then. What do I know?
and
I read on the news that he died playing golf. So the
Yep.
obituary said drops dead on links. unquote.
yeah, and his death certificate lists the golf club as his place of death.
Okay.
The
So-
golf club.
Yeah,
Bad way to go.
forget the name of the
His
golf club,
father.
but it was, the golf course. Yeah, so you can see, here's all the data, his marriage.
So Mark, what is the significance of Sayer, S-A-Y-R-E?
That's on my mother's side. I think it's my mother's her father's or mother's maiden name. That's what I think it is.
And Tonkin?
That's also
Geo-
on our mother's side. I think so.
Uh-huh,
I'll have to
right.
get back to you on that.
uh-huh.
Gulf of Tonkin,
Yes, absolutely.
North Korea,
Hmm.
North Vietnam.
It looks like your mother was quite busy with 3 young kids all in a row, 46, 47, and
49 is
49.
my sister.
That's, those are,
Right.
the photos of those very early years are in the glass slides that I've been converting, that I've sent to Mark. They're absolutely precious of my father, then very happy with his young family and us all quite blonde.
Well, I can show one of those pictures. So let me just mention here, down the left-hand side is the timeline going from birth to death and everything that happened in between of, that there'd be public records for.
Yeah.
And then on the right-hand side over here is more information about family, parents, spouse, children, etc. And then the other item, there's several different things up here. There's life story, which puts all this stuff in kind of a narrative form. And facts, that's what we're looking at right now, is just this timeline. But there's also a gallery. And this is the reason why we chose this method, because we can
there's
upload.
Arthur. This is what Arthur looked like.
There's
Yeah.
the photo of the 5 of us, yeah.
It's terrific.
Oh, what a lovely photo.
Let me see how close I can
That's
get.
me in the far right.
Arthur and Mark and Christopher. Susanna. No, that's just Mark and Christopher and Arthur and your mom.
No,
And my
Susanna's
sister-
in there too. She's
My sister in the
tucked in
center.
between.
Oh, I see. I missed Susanna's face.
She's leaning on her mother's.
Yeah,
breast.
right. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a lovely picture.
That's beautiful.
That is
I
nice.
got a whole bunch of these.
And they will all end up here. And they're
Oh, okay, well, I'll have to link the Dropbox, give you the Dropbox link. Because I probably have, I don't know, maybe 50 or 60 of these now, Mark.
Yeah, quite a lot. I have a couple here I can show you when you're ready, but I'll wait for my sister to post them.
There's a
so
great photo shop near me.
we've got, pictures. We also have documents.
Yeah.
Here's a transcript of an interview that Arthur did, a portion of an interview that Arthur gave with Harvard University, where he talked about what he was doing during World War II.
What does it say?
Can you read it?
It's long, but read a little bit of it.
I read it. I think you sent it separately. It was really interesting. He didn't want to be here. He wanted to be in Europe because that's where the action was.
Yep.
Right.
And he put together a oral history book that basically has 2 parts. It has his art collection, and then it has his wartime years. And what I would do is I would scan pages of it and then send them to you. I think these are extracts from the pages.
Oh, it's about a 300-page book.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's a lot of material.
yeah.
But Barbie, it's probably best if I just send it to you.
Okay, that's fine.
Because it's so
Thank you.
long. But
Yeah.
it is fascinating. It's
Yeah,
fascinating.
this is directly from the book that I recall reading this. And in fact, when he went to the UK, he had videotaped at that time with a film camera, 16 millimeter, at a place called Logan. It wasn't airport, Logan Field in Boston. And then when he went to the UK, the British authorities took the 16 millimeter film for observation. So when he went to see his supervisor, he couldn't show anything. And that's what it was talking about. You got it back.
Valentine, you got the birth certificate? I mean, not the birth certificate, the birth announcement I sent you?
No,
You got the draft card too.
I've got his draft card, yeah.
No, no,
I got that from
the birth-
public
I'll
record.
send you the birth
He was
announcement.
involved in the invention of
And then you had
sound.
I sent you a section on the Boeing 314 Clipper, which is in the lower left, which is
Yeah.
the plane that he flew on.
So
So
there's
he
some
was involved
background
with the-
information.
You remember the movie Indiana Jones?
Why Smash Adams? That's what
And
his
the part when he had to fly across country,
name of the book.
he had the same kind of plane. It was a flying boat.
So, yeah, so there's a lot of, really, we can put anything up here
I
that
think
we think is relevant. And I'm doing this with everybody that I have pictures for. So this gives you some idea of what we're trying to accomplish here and how far along we are. We made a lot of progress, but there's plenty of room for more.
Great
Madeline,
job.
Madeline, you're doing fabulous work. Did you, that article that Harvard put together about Arthur, sort of memorializing all of his work and his history, is that in the facts or in the
Yeah.
gallery somewhere?
Yeah, where did I put that?
Well, then
Oh
these-
wait, that article. Maybe I have it as a link in here. I thought I did. I don't know. I will check, but if I don't have it, I'll put it in.
Okay, thank you.
So anyway, I think unless somebody wants to see something else, I'll stop this, but that's what we're doing.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Anything that anybody has in the way of photos or other documentation can be uploaded and it can be associated with multiple people. So like that picture of Arthur and Susanna and Mark and the rest of the family is linked to all 5 of those people. So anywhere you go, like if you look up Susanna, you'll see that picture. If you look up Mark, you'll see that picture, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a nice way of like interrelating materials so that it connects to all the different people who are involved.
Great.
Madge had something called a chap book for keeping track of men she met.
Oh.
And
Here's something I just found in my father's wallet. A card from Josephine Rizek of Cartier, and on the back it says, "Oh, how I love you."
wow.
Well, maybe he just spent a lot of money there.
Inside the chapbook are some photos which my mother blessedly labeled, and I'll
Oh, wonderful.
scan and
Oh, that would be
Uncle-
lovely.
Uncle Jack, Aunt Gertie, Uncle Mark, and his wife. Then she says, "Looks like it. Don't know the man in the middle."
That must have been also in Atlantic City.
I'm very short of pictures of Gertie and Jacob, so please send it.
Okay.
My guess is Mark and Edie probably will have some of those for you, but yes, that would be
Okay.
great.
And this, I gather, is Mark and Hortense.
Oh, it looks like Mark for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've got a little tremor.
Oh,
Atlantic City.
that's definitely,
That's
After they got
wonderful.
married.
So
Yeah, please send that too. Send everything. There's no such thing as too much.
Madeline, I'm sending you the birth announcement. I thought I had done that.
Okay, no, that's great. And what about the circumcision invitation? Where is that?
gosh.
Who
Ah,
has
gee.
that?
Hold on a sec.
Okay,
Suzanne has the record for engineering.
Let me go to, I have a section here on the other computer called special photos. You got the dance card?
yes,
Yes,
I have the
I have
dance card.
It's on the dance card. Whose
You
dance
know-
card is it? Has to be a girl's dance card, right?
Yeah, the men that signed up.
To the-
Oh, here's the circumcision one. Okay, I'll send it to you right now.
That was not cute, a dance card.
Remember, we went to a party. The women had dance cards.
And Rob, if you could send me some data, like your birth date and your brother's birth dates, and if you're willing, and places. I'm assuming you were all born in Cleveland, but
Yeah,
or Shaker Heights, wherever it was. But
yeah.
that would be great. I can look you up. I can like stalk you and skip trace you, but it'd be faster if you could do that.
Discover my days as a horse thief.
That's just the least of it.
Um,
So much blackmail material, and I'm never going to use it.
There's the circumcision announcement just went off,
Oh, great, thanks.
and,
She has such a high pitch, 10 places hard to do.
on the birth announcement, I'll send that off too.
one of the many
That's great.
wonderful things I like about this family is our wonderful sense of humor. And Madeline, your father was, and I think your mother as well, were just
No, this is my
classic at that.
father.
And my, yeah,
If it
my
weren't for
mother
my
had a
dad, my mother would have
terrific
a
sense.
sense of humor.
Okay, I sent you the circumcision and birth announcements.
Great, thank you.
That'll take care of Kaskel.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
The birth announcement's a little card with a ribbon on it.
Well, I was wondering how they use those things because they're like little business cards. And
Yeah,
it's like there's a card with like the parents' information, and then there's a little card for the baby's information, and they're tied together. And I'm not sure how they were used. I was going to Google that because I have little cards like that from when I was born, with my but they're tiny with my name.
Yeah.
They must have been connected to something else, but I don't know how they were used.
Well, I think they were sent out like marriage announcements. People weren't invited to the wedding, but they got an announcement of the wedding. So maybe
Oh.
these were sent out as an announcement of the birth to your friends and family who might not know, or from whom
They-
you might hope to get a gift.
in
Ah,
some
okay.
of the letters I have, the envelopes are very small. And I imagine I'm sure they're not allowed anymore. You can't send teeny tiny envelopes anymore, but back then when we had mail 2 times a day
That's right.
Okay.
And Sunday.
and Sunday. Oh, really?
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
it was a penny for a postcard and 3 cents for a stamp. And my mother would take me to Forts and Murray to the post office, and Mr. Ergley was the very nice postman who worked there, and she would pick me up and put me on the scale to see how much I weighed. Mr.
I remember Mr.
You
Erkley.
remember Mr. Ergley? Joe,
What do you got there, Rob?
Absolutely.
Out there, Rob.
did you get weighed on the post office scale?
I don't recall that. My memory is not that good, but I probably was.
Oh, there's Kaskel.
Oh,
You're
I
muted.
can't hear you, Rob.
Your audio.
Bearing you the phone. It's a little story about him being presented. I realize this is backwards.
Oh, I can see it.
No,
No,
it's
no,
not backwards.
it's not to us.
Okay,
Employees
Being-
tender well-known merchant pleasant surprise as token of appreciation. That's what it says.
yeah.
It's a 50th
Can you
birthday.
can you scan that too? I realize I'm
Sure.
giving you a part-time job here.
Yeah, it'll be a few days because this is the part of the week when I'm crashing on the show.
No worries.
Oh,
However long it takes is fine.
this is a dandy photo of my mother, voters service committee members of Shaker Heights League of Women Voters.
Oh, good for her.
Nice.
Which
What
one
are you
is
doing?
she?
Tying their shoes?
She's on, well, my left, and I guess you're right.
Yeah,
In
I
the dark?
recognize her.
The dark hair.
Yep.
Are they trying on shoes? What are they
Shoes?
doing?
It's just the photo.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
guessing they're going to walk the blocks to,
Oh, yes, because it says preparatory to contacting voters in 24 precincts.
They're gonna pound the pavement.
Mhm.
Yes, this is my elementary school photo with my mother in it.
Oh,
Oh, that's sweet.
Cute.
you know what she is?
She identifies herself. Let me just be sure that,
Bless her heart. I have school photos, but I have no idea who anybody is in all these old photos.
third row. Well,
Well, get yourself a scanner to digitize your artwork.
yeah, no, I've got a printer that will scan. There's some other clippings in here. One thing that may be of marginal interest to you folks, but which I love.
I
Is
like
that-
your dog in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Nipper, the Victor dog.
I
Yeah.
figured.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Looks
yeah,
like
the
him.
Victrola dog.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he an original?
No, he's
Oh.
a
Oh,
stuffed Nipper.
His tilted head, trying to recognize his master's voice.
Rob, send us a link to your radio show. I'd love to hear it. Whatever
Okay.
it is.
You can actually hear last Saturday's program was somewhat on the exceptional side because of the topic and the guest. Hotjazz.org.
Oh, nice.
Hotjazz.org. Well, it was on a particular body of recordings by Louis Armstrong,
oh, wow.
and an authority on Louis was I'd interviewed and excerpted some interview segments, but it's a striking story. Madge kept a record of shows that she attended.
Oh,
Mhm.
The
And,
actual record.
and, you know, I just gasped when I go through this. She saw Barrymore. She saw 2 George M. Cohan shows. This is around 05, 06, with one of them with Faye Templeton, who's legendary.
Hortense saw the Marx Brothers. I have that program somewhere.
Which show? Coconuts, Animal Crackers?
I think it was Coconuts on stage.
That
They
would have
all
been,
kept scrapbooks. I mean, I have one also.
that's,
I had one, I think I threw it out. Who would care?
yeah,
Well, at Times Square, it's called Cohan Square to this day.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Coconuts. That was their
Yeah.
first show in 1929. Or it may have started in 28.
This is prior to. So, oh, well, my goodness, that's that beautiful thing.
Oh my
John
God,
Wow.
Barrymore. Wow.
this is historic.
Yeah. And in some cases, she makes some editorial remarks. And then I also, you know, Chris and I recognize names of actors who went out to Hollywood eventually and became character actors for the major studios. So it's
were these shows she saw in Cleveland or in New York?
no, this is from the 1900s. So she saw some in Pittsburgh
Oh, okay.
and some in New York when I believe she was going to some kind of academy or special school. And I think the girls were escorted to the theater. So
You know what school she went to?
not off the top of my head.
One of the places that the family went to was the Blue Mountain House in Penn Mar, which is the border of Pennsylvania and Maryland. And the Blue Mountain House burned down in 1913. You can Google Blue Mountain House. But the family, and I imagine it was must have been Solomon's and Nathan's, but they used to go there a lot, and that's mentioned in my grandmother's diaries. But it
Neat.
burned down in 1913. But useful to Google Blue Mountain House.
See, it's one thing that's interesting to me is the lead in this particular show is a man named Edmund Breeze, who has a very modest role in a 1933 W.C. Fields film at Paramount. He became a character actor
Wow.
out west, and these names pop up all over the place. But just imagining what she saw, it's amazing.
Wow. That's wonderful you have this collection, Rob.
Some things.
Well, fold it in.
Yeah, can it?
And somewhere, I think we have another book of Madge's in which she editorializes more on some of the guys who were courting her and notes the frequent letters from Jerry, who was making a hard court press.
Where was Jerry from?
I trust that Aunt Ellie maybe explains that. I know his parents died when he was very young, and they were young. That's about the sum total, unless there's some info on this, my notes from the conversation. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't think I can answer that, Joe. So,
Well, maybe Rick or Roger would have that information.
you might want to board the pig that flies, but I can certainly ask them. I know, I think Susan has some family stuff.
Okay.
Oh, it's wonderful to reconnoiter with all of you. And Barbie, I remember that lunch with great fondness. It was a real heart to heart about a lot of things. And Susanna and Mark, I suspected you have had extraordinary lives having Arthur as your father, and you've more or less confirmed that with allusions to things best left unsaid or not explored. So I picked up on that. And
That's in
Madeline,
my childhood. I wanted my best friend's father to be mine, but he turned out to have dark sides to him. I only found out much later, but I would have given the world to have him. You remember Stan Sheldon, right, Mark?
Who?
Stan Sheldon, Phoebe's dad?
Oh, right. Yeah.
certainly,
Phoebe was the girlfriend of James Taylor for a while.
well, yeah, it's, let me just express some sadness for what you were cheated out of.
Yeah.
We have reconnected now with a new family. So
Well,
we're lucky.
I am absolutely thrilled. I was talking to my son last night, who's 44, whose name is also Chris. And he sometimes has a hard time talking to his dad, who doesn't always listen well. And I said to my Chris, I said, be patient with him, keep talking to him. It's the most important thing. So trying not to have a repeat of the situation Mark and I had.
Yeah, one thing it took me decades to understand about my father, who had his intensely judgmental side. And it's a fun sport when Rick and Raj and I are talking, and I sort of mark the flashes of my father in all of us, is that when something didn't turn out right for one of his sons, he'd get angry, and it felt like he was angry at you, and that he didn't understand. And it took me years to recognize that it was an expression of his disappointment that it didn't work out something didn't work out for one of his boys. Now, he may have also harbored that the blame lay at our feet, and that may have indeed been the case, since everything is co-created. But it took me a while to sort of understand what his particular style of expression was. But he was
I think families are very complex entities, very complex.
Ours is not perfect.
Yeah, Chris says that Chris says the expression dysfunctional family is redundant.
I love that. That's great.
I love that too.
That's really cute.
I mean, it's interesting in some respects, because I I consider my relationship with my two sisters to be absolutely wonderful.
Me
I
too.
tell
Me too.
I've told many people over the years that I love my sister. I like my sisters and I love my sisters. And that is the enduring legacy that was left particularly by our mother.
Yes.
But I look, for example, at Fern's family, which is extremely dysfunctional. There's one of three sisters is estranged from the other two. The other two are very close, and they grew up in a family where harboring grudges was a blood sport, and it's so sad for her to have to live like that for these many years. But I accept it. I accept she is who she is, and her family is who they are, and I do my best to avoid the being in the middle of the crossfire when it occurs.
I must say that, but go ahead, please. You want to finish, Joe?
No, I'm done.
I must
No,
say
I'm finished.
that of my father's house and contents and all that kind of stuff, that I have the most fabulous thing of all, which is the trunk and an opportunity to get to know my family better across the country. I look forward to these calls. I love sending Madeline stuff. I'm just absolutely thrilled. Someday I'll come around and see you, Rob, in DC, and Barbie, I see you wherever you may be. And I go to New York once a year, I hope. And gee, I'll have to go to Chicago, and I'll have to go to Long Beach and Beverly Hills. So, and also Connecticut, and anybody else who we can join in the fray here. It's absolutely wonderful for me.
I thought it would be fun to meet in Pittsburgh and go and look at the old houses and haunts and the cemetery and the.
Well, we should do that. We should do that. And
That would be great.
I can see by our faces that we are little past 21. And I'm of the opinion that time is passing too fast. So if it's possible to put together a grand reunion in Pittsburgh early next year, or whenever it's not going to be too cold for us poor Californians, I think that would be a wonderful thing to do.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It's so nice. I'm so sorry I missed your first meeting. Did you, and maybe when we meet again, we can talk about a little bit about ourselves, so it's not redundant. I imagine you did that the first time.
A little bit.
Not
Yeah.
that much. We
No.
just dived right into family
Say
history.
about ourselves.
No.
And Barbie, you have a bunch of pictures on your mantle that may be worth scanning and either sending to Madeline or scanning yourself and getting those included. We're
Yeah.
not very good about pictures, although there are several that I will send to Madeline from us. And so
I have albums and albums of our kids, of our family. And I think some older ones. So this has just been great. It's so nice to see everyone. It's really, and as Joe said, I feel so fortunate that Susie and Joe and I are on speaking terms, respectful terms, endearing terms, because I have a number of friends who are totally estranged from other members of their family. And I think that's very sad, but it is what it is, right?
We should set up another meeting.
Yeah.
I'll be back after the 5th of September.
Well, maybe we'll all be more at home after the 5th of September. I know in August, we have company coming and our granddaughter from Washington is coming to UCLA. So we'll be busy with that for a few days in September. And we are very excited about that.
Is she actually attending or just looking it over?
No, she was accepted.
She's a bright girl.
That's my alma mater.
Is it? Yeah. Well, anyway, on our next talk, I'll tell you about our family. I won't bore you twice. Yeah. Anyway, so Madeline, you're the convener of the.
Hang on just a second.
She is the grand sleuth
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
where
Yeah,
everything goes.
I have been I've turned into the nerve center of this motley crew.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you so much.
I'll send something out. I'm just glad we all figured out what time zone to show up today.
Thank you.
Uh,
That is very
Turned out
important.
to be
You know,
a
the
really
truth of the matter,
great
I
thing.
had that first one on my phone, but then we came here and my phone automatically went 3 hours ahead. So I sort
Right.
of backed up 3, but it should have been 6. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I know.
Thank you.
I'm
It-
no
it's-
criticism implied.
It's great to have instructions for each person. Okay, you get on the phone at this time. See, it's
Good
really
idea.
good.
I know how to do it from now on.
Yeah,
So we'll
that's good.
organize the next meeting for after when Susanna comes back from her trip.
I'm waiting patiently to get my health pass for Paris so I can actually go in a restaurant. They've required that for everybody there. And if you're French national, you have it. And yesterday they opened it up for tourists, but they only opened it up till August 15th, but I sent my stuff in anyway. So I have 10 days before I go to France, and I'm chewing my nails, hoping to get the health pass before I go. So.
Wow.
Hope it works out.
Yeah.
What cities are you going to?
What?
What cities are you going to?
I'm
You're
going to Paris, and then I'm going to go down to Brittany to bicycle around the Gulf to Morbihan. So I have all these hotels and trains and everything all set. And without the health pass, I'm SOL. So.
So
nervous
think
now.
positive. Think positive.
Well, stay healthy. That's the most important thing.
That's the
That's
most
right.
Yeah.
important thing. Yeah.
All right,
Mark,
well,
you
listen,
Yeah,
Wait,
okay.
before we go, Rob, remind me again what I said I would send you. Did you want the picture of your grandmother? Remind me what I said I would send you. Can you remember?
Um,
Perils of old age.
I'm trying to remember specifically what it was. Isn't that terrible?
I should have written it down when you said it.
It will come back and occur to me.
And it may come back to me too, but
Yeah, it was
oh, maybe,
something
hey,
fairly
wait,
specific.
we recorded this. I'll just watch the recording.
Madeline, I'm going to send you the Dropbox of the early black and whites from the 50s.
That's
Great.
great.
The local Photoshop does for me.
Awesome.
Mark, you got those, I think. I did.
Yes, I did. I
I
got
think
them.
I did 3 or 4 rounds of those.
Yeah, I got quite a few of them from growing up on Craigie Street.
Right.
Well, great to see you all. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
rest
So
of your
glad
summer.
you're here.
you all, we'll
Nice
see you
meeting
next
Rob.
month.
See you next month then.
See you in
Okay.
September.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.